and I think canning applesauce is one of like the best things to do in New York State for canning because we have so many varieties of apples, and we're number 2 state in producing apples. I think next to Washington State, they win. But actually, when my hometown, I'm from Rochester, the town over, it's actually my hometown, is one of the highest apple producers in New York State. And that's really cool because there's nothing else there other than apple orchards. So amazing. Yeah, we would ride our bikes down the road and just like grab an apple and make sure no one saw. I'm sure they saw though. But this is my little cheat sheet. It says there's also, in New York State, there's 29.5 million bushels produced annually. I'm sure that's not the case for this past year, though, because we've had the changing climate. And if you notice now, it's kind of a warm day, which is a little odd. I remember sledding around this time a couple years ago, and but this past season, when in February and March we had a couple of warm weeks, and the trees then decided, the apple trees and the grapevines and what else, cherry trees, really any fruit producing tree decided to bloom, to send up their buds and start blooming. And then the cold weather came back, as it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be cold, the trees don't know better, they're just like, oh, it's warm now, let's grow. But the cold came back and it destroyed all the buds and all the blooms. And that's why, if anyone's noticed, apple prices and grape prices and cherry prices are enormous this year. So,
sky high.
Yeah, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. But the weather has been a little odd. We also had a very dry summer, which didn't help at all for the crops. Some of the crops, I lived at a garden this summer, and some of the crops did really well, but of course we were standing out there for a couple hours on hot days watering. So, but I forgot how many varieties of apples. There's if you guys picked up a sheet, is there an apple variety sheet? Or just, yeah. Are those in just New York State? Can I see some ones? Is there one here? Cool.
2 sheets of it.
Wow. So when we make applesauce, my mom makes sure we have at least like 5 different varieties of apples. The Dept, I think the more different types of apples you have, the better your applesauce. It's just better.
Better flavor.
Oh yeah.
How many do you usually mix in?
It tells right on the.
No, I mean, how many does your mom usually mix in different varieties?
She usually uses like 5 or 6, as many as we can get our hands on, really. Usually, this past season, we did a whole bushel, and it took forever. It took from 7 in the morning till 5 at night. We're like doing all this. We also only had 3 people to do it, but we did, I think, 5 different types of apples, and we made the applesauce, and it was fun. But for the applesauce workshop that we're doing today, we have 6 different types that Sarah bought, and Sarah knows all the different types.
Yeah, and the sheet.
Yes. There's Ida Red, right?
Oh, the ones that we're going to be sampling?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I will get my little list.
Just the list.
I would.
Probably max is
But I think there's over 20, there's like over 20 different types of apples.
There is a lot.
Yeah.
There's
more
a lot.
than that.
Yeah, wait, it's one of those things
there's
that you can't really record.
2,500, sorry, in North America. Different types of apples.
Okay, so we have some volunteer slicers currently slicing up our samples in the back.
Still working.
More volunteer slicers everywhere. So they're lining up on a plate back there. We thought it might be fun. It was Hannah's idea to do this sample idea because there are so many, as Hannah said, so many cool varieties and different varieties in New York State. We wanted to just see how what's available at the farmers market and try them and see what we think. So lined up on your plate from top to bottom are going to be Empire, John Gold, Rome, Crispin, Wine Sap, and Ida Red. Those were I got both of those from 2 different farmers market vendors, and this was, as Hannah also said, this was a tough year for apples. The one that I talked to said that he got them from Ontario, and I'm not sure about Bust-Eye Cider Mill, where they were able to get theirs from this year. But someone who's shopping in the back said, hey, this wine sap is actually kind of mushy. I don't know if we want to put it on the plate. And then we said, well, let's put it on because people can see if you're looking for varieties that are better for saving. Hannah, you said that the apple season is what, late August, September?
Yeah.
So these,
And then early October, and then it goes into storage.
sure. So these are apples that have been sitting in storage for maybe several months. So this is a nice time for us to see if we're going to be saving apples for eating, which ones stay nice and crisp by mid-December, and which ones get soggy. Maybe that we'd be using those for applesauce more likely than eating them fresh. So when you get your plate, I'll read off again, or I don't know, I could pass this around, but I'll read off again the order of what's on your plate, and you can see what you think.
This is a real soft, luscious dish. You know what type that is?
I believe that was the Ida Red.
Oh.
I have to see it matched with the apples in the back. But all right, so should we start passing out bread?
Yes.
Say okay. I would love to. Do you want to talk about your bread when we pass it out?
Okay. So I got an applesauce coffee cake recipe from my favorite cookbook of all time, but I can't find it right now. The Better Homes Gardens one.
It's a good one.
It's one of the best, I think. It has the best cookie recipes. So that's how I judge a cookbook, is their cookie recipes. There's like a crumb I made for the top, and then cooks and whatever. But I don't have the best oven, so it's not quite evenly cooked, just to warn you. But there's walnuts in the crumble and raisins in the bread part, and it's all whole wheat flour. So there's eggs in it.
Is there any milk
Double
products?
catch it.
There's butter in it. Any more allergies I can think of? Nuts, flour, butter, eggs, raisins. It might be a little dry because
Not dry.
okay, it's not good. I mean, there's usually when you put applesauce in breads, it makes them kind of like moist, I think. I know I've used applesauce in my oatmeal and pancakes. You can use it in like stuffing for turkey or chicken. I think I have a list somewhere. You can make like applesauce chutney if you like that kind of stuff. I use applesauce as a spread because when you make there's applesauce and there's apple butter. And apple butter is just applesauce with like sugar and some like more spices in it. So I just like the non-sugar applesauce, and I use that for a spread. But anyway, you can put applesauce in soups. Try it. Like I'd put maybe like a 1/4 a cup or less in the soup, just to like add just a little bit of sweetness. That you can't even tell. There's just like that taste. It tastes really good. Oh, there's honey in the bread too. Instead of using all sugar, because in a lot of recipes you can just substitute honey or agave or molasses for just straight sugar. And I did that. I substituted 1 cup of sugar in the recipe for a cup of honey, and usually you don't want to substitute a whole cup of honey in, but I was like, I like honey. So then there's more honey to eat on it.
Are cooking times different with the substitutes or about the same?
I don't know. I don't follow cooking times ever.
Oh, okay.
Just because they're always wrong for me, at least. Because I never make things the right size, and like I like to make either really small cookies or really big cookies or really big loaves of bread.